Hey, Larkin Rose here, and it's time for a significant update on the Jones Plantation. And as a special treat, today I'm going to interview one of the stars of the movie, Snacky. Snacky's a little bit shy and won't let go. So, Snacky, what was it like on the set of the Jones Plantation? Now, you weren't at the outdoor set, which was ridiculously cold, even though it was in Mississippi. Louisiana. No, Mississippi. But you were at the indoors shoot. So, what was that like? Can you inform us? Can you educate us on the process? And what process did you go through to get into character? I mean, you had to play a snacky, and that may or may not be outside of your normal roles that you're used to. I believe you were Macbeth in a recent Broadway production. So this is a dramatic change for you, is it not, Snacky? You have nothing to say. Snacky has nothing to say. So I guess I'll talk about other things. Snacky's very shy and doesn't like to talk to fans. Elitist. You elitist snob. So, first of all, Snacky really is in the movie. It wasn't this big when we filmed Snacky's part. But I have now seen a rough cut of the Jones Plantation. I think there's about 4 people in the world who have. 5, maybe. No, you can't see it. But I wanted to say a few things about it. First of all, I was very pleasantly surprised the magic that Andrew, the director, pulled off, making what he did out of what we had. And I didn't know exactly what we had because I was there for maybe half of the shots. I wasn't exactly counting. But there were so many challenges and stuff going on that I didn't know how much he'd have to sort of patch things up and stuff, and how hard it would be to make it into like a coherent flowing thing that like nobody can tell any of the challenges even happened. And he did just a miraculous job. And I was thrilled. I was sitting there smiling the whole time we watched it. Now, it's not finished. All the shooting's done, but there's still the audio before the music. I'm doing the music. I'm already working on the music. I've been working away for several days now. But there's the audio production because the raw audio is nothing like what it ends up as. There's also the coloration, which on a real movie is a huge process that takes weeks. To give it the right feel and to make all the scenes match is actually like there's a lot of freaking work involved with that. So that has to happen. There's a little bit of rotoscoping. Mainly our special effects are removing things that didn't exist back then. It's like, well, there's an air conditioner in the background, so we have to make that disappear. And they're minor things, but it takes time, and you have to, have somebody who knows how to do that, and they can be a slow process. So there's a bunch of post-production stuff to do, including the music. So I'm going to throw out here that if people think, oh, you already shot it, it's done. Like, that works if it's me in front of a camera or somebody who just blabs and does, a podcast or something. On an actual movie, post-production is a huge ordeal and a huge expense. The first huge thing is the editing, and Andrew basically spent 7 months as a recluse hiding in his apartment editing this massive thing. And for nothing, basically. And so it's with the music, I've gotten paid a really little bit, like less than anybody's ever gotten paid to do a soundtrack. And if that's all I get because the money has to go to other things like, the sound engineering and the color correction and the whatever stuff like that, then whatever. But still, the more money we have and the more donations we have, the more we can do that stuff and the better we can do that stuff. And like, I might actually get paid for doing the music. And eventually, Andrew actually, like, he's been working his butt off on this, and I won't give tons of specifics, but he's made negative money working on it so far. I all the way mean negative. I don't mean he isn't paid enough. I mean, he's put a bunch of his into it to make it what it needs to be. And the work he's done is just freaking outstanding. And I could not have pictured something that well put together based on the, crap, we have to hurry and do this. And like our shooting schedule was only like 2.5 weeks for the whole stinking thing. And normally, big studios, months. And so it's like, well, we have to get that. And our director of photography, freaking awesome. But he's not one who's just going to go, oh, just aim a camera at them and do it. He's like, no, it has to look right. You have to set up all the lighting for every angle. So every time there's a shot, it's like, well, there's people talking back and forth, which means we want a wide angle and a close up here and one from that view and a bunch of different things. So we only had one camera. So we have to go through and shoot it all from one angle, switch everything around, move everything to the other side of the room, switch in the other angle, and a bunch of this is happening when it's like 20 degrees in a 150-year-old church outside. So it was a miracle that we got the quality of picture that we did to begin with in that amount of time on that budget. Holy smokes. And then another miracle, how Andrew edited it together, and it's just... he actually, I know he doesn't like to hype things too much because you don't want to overhype and have people go, yeah, wasn't that great. So like a lot of people, like when it's their own stuff, they want to underhype and let other people say how great it is. Well, I'm other people and I'm saying it's freaking great. Now, one thing I will say, which I learned like early on in the shooting, this isn't what I initially assumed it would be and pictured it being. I sort of imagined a period piece that's sort of serious and classical orchestration for the music and kind of generic-y. And it isn't that at all. It turned into something that's... I almost don't know how to describe it. It's very... I hesitate to say Tarantino, because you know how Tarantino does things, Quentin Tarantino does movies that happened in the past, but the soundtrack is modern and there's things about it that, they're not trying to be, proper and historically, historically accurate, yeah. Well, to some extent, we had it pretty damn historically accurate. But it's not, the feel of it is so modern and I don't even know how to explain it. You just have to see it. But it's a lot more the sort of thing that's, I think, going to get a lot of people's attention, including young people these days. And I think people are going to be talking about it and telling other people about it. I don't just mean like voluntarists. I mean, normal people are going to watch it and go, whoa, that's... holy smokes, have you seen this thing? People do that about movies anyway. Oh, have you seen that? Have you seen this? Well, this is going to kind of make a lot of people go, whoa, what the hell? And tell other people about it before they even know exactly what to think about it, in fact. So it isn't like, this totally convinced me of a whole philosophy. It's just, I think it will have enough of an impact that people are going to talk about it to other people, which is what we want. And of course, we want you guys to be spreading it far and wide when it's out too. But it's just I'm thrilled with the direction it's going. There were things about it that I cringed at while we were shooting. I'm not going to get into specifics. I'm like, oh, that's not what I pictured. And now I'm like, that works really well. And there was a bunch of weirder stuff that it's like, there can only be one director and I wasn't it. And that's a good thing. Like, Andrew's a director and he knows what he's doing. So my vague vision of what I thought it was going to look like isn't true. The story is still the story. And there's a lot of things, you know, when you write a huge story out, and then it gets made into a movie, like there's a reason they don't let screenwriters on the set, is because while you're making it, you kind of have to butcher it. One thing I wasn't going to do, and I knew Andrew wasn't going to do, which is why he's the only one in the world I would have let direct this thing, is butcher the actual message. But there are bits and pieces of, oh, well, this was supposed to happen here, but now we have to shoot it over here, and this has to be cut out, and we can't do that. And it already, in its current form, it's a little bit over an hour and a half. Watching it, it felt like a short movie. It didn't even feel like 90 minutes, which is a really good sign. Because normally at the end of any movie, I'm like, okay, it's finally done. And this was, well, anyway, you'll see it when you see it. It probably won't be what you expect. The story will be. The message will be, if you're a voluntarist and you've seen the dumb little animated thing I did, which is just, you know, a little one-dimensional nothing compared to what this movie is. But I am very excited about it. Now, I don't know a release date. It'll be a number of weeks. Luckily, the music and the coloration and the sound and the any special effects we have, those can be worked on at the same time. So it's not like I have to twiddle my thumbs waiting till the sound is done and to do the music. So I'm doing the music, and soon somebody will be doing the coloration and, well, not coloration. Color correction. Coloration is when you take a black and white film. We're not that weird. No, it is a color film. So the coloring and the music and the sound design, and the sound design isn't just processing the sound when we record it. It's adding stuff. So there's Foley stuff. I don't know who does that, and which is making the sound effects you expect to hear, but microphones don't always catch. So there's so many aspects of making a real movie that most people are completely oblivious. For years now, I've always liked watching the behind the scenes and like listening to the director's commentary of what they had to go through. And this is like so many of the cult classics have just horror stories of what they went through on set and trying to get things to work and things going horribly awry. And so we had a bunch of them, and nobody will ever know from watching the movie the challenges and stuff we went through. And it's cool to watch it having been there. And it's like you see this scene and you know all the mess and the people and the equipment that's just out of frame because I was there. I saw it. And you know it's 20 stinking degrees and none of them are acting like it. The acting was awesome. The sets were awesome. The director of photography was just amazing. So anyway, I could babble on and on, but that's probably all the babbling I need to do. But I do want to encourage people, like if you want to support this thing, we still need funding to do the music and the music comes last, but it would be nice to get paid more for the music too. But the production is still a big thing, and it's still like weeks away before we're thinking about anybody actually seeing it other than us. But I did want to give an update that it's all shot, it's all in the can, and now the rough edit is done. There's little things that may change here and there because that happens with every major movie. But I'm thrilled with what Andrew pulled off. All of it, the directing and the editing and the even butchering my script in places. It was a good butchery. And the thing is, nobody's going to know except me. Like, because if you write it one way and it's like, well, now we have to do the scene this way and shorten it and cut that out. And like the scene that people see is perfect and what it needs to be. And what would have been in there but wasn't because of time constraints or logistical problems or like nobody ever knows and nobody ever cares. It's not like, nobody's going to watch this and go, it seems like something's missing. Nothing's missing. So anyway, if you want to donate, I'm going to put the link below for because we still have a running Indiegogo thing. And nobody has their claws in this. No Hollywood studio has their claws in this. This was you guys. This happened because of you guys funding it. And then it happened because Andrew pulled off miracle after miracle what he managed to pull off for the budget he had, and mostly by kicking his own ass and doing 15 times as many jobs as he should have and almost dying on the set. He's and getting paid negative in the process. He pulled off a freaking miracle with this, and I'm so thankful for what he's been able to do. Anyway, so if you want to, and maybe someday he'll even get paid for it. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, I don't know how many weeks or months it'll be until it's out. But we are well underway, and now enough of a rough edit exists. You don't get to see it, but it exists, so that we can start working on all the other things that have to go through in production. And Schnecky, to star the show, urges all of you to watch it when it comes out. Don't you? Don't you, Schnecky? So that's all. The link below shows how you can support it. Yeehaw. It's really weird that once upon a time this was just a dumb little animated thing that I threw together. Other people did the illustrations and the narrations even, and it turned into a movie, like a real movie. So that's just, as from my perspective, that just feels really weird, but also really awesome. So thanks so much to all of you who helped make this happen. And we are getting closer and closer to unleashing it upon the world. And it's going to be interesting to see how people react. Because it ain't subtle, and it's not gentle, and it's a kick in the teeth in exactly the way it needs to be. Yeehaw. So if you want to support it, see the links below. Snacky insists.